All right, wonderful. We got a couple people joining. All right, we are live on X, sending our data everywhere else. We are on Instagram as of right now. We're about to be on our Facebook group.
Magic, magic of technology.
Um,
And somebody that has multiple screens.
yeah, it definitely helps. Cool. So we're live everywhere, and we got some more people joining us just in time. Wonderful. Cool. Carl, would you like to
I'll let you do the honors.
all right.
I appreciate
Welcome,
it.
everybody. Welcome to everyone that's joining us on the Zoom call or on our social media platforms. You're listening to the BeatCancer.Org Ask a Holistic Cancer Coach weekly call, where every Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we gather here for an open forum discussion about all things holistic cancer healing and prevention, and really all things holistic health and wellness in general. This is an open forum chat for anyone to pitch a topic of discussion, pitch a question, pitch an article or interesting thing that you've heard about and you want to explore and learn more about. Please note that nothing that is said on these calls is to be taken as medical advice. We are simply here for educational purposes to share informational resources. Always consult with a proper physician when appropriate. Um, yeah, that's pretty much all the preamble stuff, right?
Yeah, and maybe who we are. We're Beat Cancer. We're a 48, 49-year-old non-for-profit charity for holistic ways of dealing with cancer. We've been supporting cancer patients and their support people for almost 50 years now, and that's what we do, and we'll continue to do as long as we can keep the organization alive.
Absolutely. We continue to develop more informational outlets and more programs that we can best serve the public with. As a reminder, most of our programs are completely free. We're here as a nonprofit, we're here as a charity, so we'll always offer our counseling with our in-house counselor for free. We have an abundance of online educational outlets to review for absolutely free, whether that's our social medias, our blog articles, different areas of our website. These weekly calls are always free to attend. And we're very happy to bring that to the people that need it.
And
Um,
we have probably about 400 to 500 blog articles. Um, we when we started, there was no internet, there was no Google, and you know, we bootstrapped it. It was knocking on doors and going out in public speaking to get people to notice us. And now you have lots of information, but who knows what's true, right? Wouldn't you rather talk to people that have been around for a while and been through a lot of the diet of the week, the snake oil of the week, conventional wisdom? Yeah, so that's what we do. We help you unravel that tangled mess of misinformation, disinformation, and and even if the information is good, it's not always for you, right? So when you talk with a counselor or a coach, you're getting customized information to you and your people in need.
yep. Yeah, absolutely. And that's a very important point because there's no one size fits all solution to health. There's no one size fits all solution to what can lead to a temporary state of unwellness. And there's no one size fits all to bring us back to a restored state of healthiness. And that's why it's so important to understand in the realm of holistic healing that it's important to be your own advocate. It's important to do your own research, and it's also important to do your own experimentation because what works for anybody else in the world, your body might just be that much different that it works a little differently. As a reminder, there's a lot of ways to participate in the call. You can either join us here on the Zoom by going to beatcancer.org, clicking on the weekly call button right at the top. That'll get you a link to join us on the Zoom. If you're watching on social media or if you're here on the Zoom, you can also participate, asking questions and posing topics for discussion by putting your input right into the chat. I'm watching all the chats on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and everywhere else that we're live currently, and I'll make sure that we get your query addressed when we can.
Yeah, and just so you know, we can't answer your specific questions without knowing you better. So we can answer questions in general, but if you want specific questions to your health issues, you definitely need to get in touch with a coach, and they have an intake process where they get to know you better. The thing about individualized help is two people can look exactly the same on paper.
Mm.
Could be a man and another man could be exactly the same as you on paper, same height, same weight, same ethnicity, but your lifestyles are completely different, and that could be the difference. So we get to know you as an individual, but feel free to ask questions. There's a lot of general questions that need to be addressed. There's a lot of things that people just believe is common knowledge, but just really it's not true. Believe is common. Do we got somebody asking a question?
No, that was just an echo of yourself
Okay.
on one of my screens here. But yeah, I see we have a phone caller. Someone has phoned into our call, and I don't recognize the number. We also have some of our certified holistic cancer coaches on with us. Thank you for joining us. But yeah, I'll bring it over to this unknown caller for now. Do you have a question that you'd like to pose to the group? I see you're muted on the phone. Let me.
626 area code.
Yeah, I forget how you unmute as a phone.
I think, can we just click on it? No, can't do that.
I can ask to unmute. I'm gonna look it up. Unmute.
Oh, you did something.
There it is. *6 is how you unmute and mute. So yeah, you are unmuted now. Yeah, please welcome to the call. I'd love to know what has brought you here today and what you'd like to discuss if there's anything.
Hi, my name is Rena, and I was on your call a couple of months ago. I do have a question.
Perfect.
And my question is there a non-invasive test to see if you have cancer, like a blood test? It's not a medical blood test, but an alternative blood test.
I'm thinking about the genetic testing what's that company, Zach?
The RGCC?
Yeah.
Well, you would have to work with some sort of medical provider because only authorized persons are able to administer those tests. There are so many tests out there that test for different things. Did I hear correctly that you're specifically looking to search for blood cancer? Is that correct?
No, not blood cancer, but to see if you have cancer in general. Like, not have any of the invasive tests like a mammogram or, things like that. Just like a blood test that shows if, you have cancer in general.
It's a blood test. But we got Maya coming up on the screen. I think she's got something to say.
I think there's a hi. I think there is a Mark Hyman, Dr. Mike Hyman. He does speak about tests where he checks blood for different lipids from different cancers to see if there's anything floating in your body, in your system. I am not sure what's the name of that test is. If you Google Dr. Mark Hyman.
Yeah, I'm familiar with him.
You're familiar with him. Yeah, I think he does offer a test like that.
Okay.
I believe so. They test like I don't know, 500 different lipids or something. If I'm not mistaken, don't get me wrong. I've heard briefly about it. That would
Okay.
indicate if there anything you might have in your body, in your system, and or not.
Well,
That's the only one that I know.
There's also Jenny Herberchek. It's funny spelling. It's Hrbacek. She's an RN. We've done a
Mhm.
lot of stuff with her, but she's got a lot of different tests, like the AMAS test. That's non-invasive. And a bunch of tests. She goes in this book, she goes over a bunch of different testing that she has, and we've done interviews with her. All non-invasive.
Yeah.
well, and I know that there are like certain tests, like if they run like a certain panel, like say like a complete blood panel, that there are certain things that they can look at specifically in the blood to see if there might be an indication that you have,
Yeah.
possibly, something going on. So
Okay.
that can even be done with a regular.
I wouldn't personally recommend any generic testing because they're not too accurate to follow them.
Okay.
Okay. Because in 50% of people who develop who has genetic mutations, they don't develop cancer. More than 50%. Because it's a lot that has to do with epigenetics. It's a lifestyle, diet, and the stressors. So I wouldn't follow that, but I would double check with a test that Mark Hyman offers on that part.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, and then I do have a follow-up question. What is your take on flax for breast cancer? Because I am hearing that it is not really that good for people with breast cancer, but I've also read that it's really good. So I'm confused.
You mean flaxseed? Flax oil?
Yes, flaxseed, yes.
Okay. Well, the omega 3 and 9 fatty acid and flaxseed they're talking about, it's a plant-based fatty acid that some researchers has been showing that is beneficial for breast cancer. The differences between plant oils, they contain a little bit slightly different compounds. For example, I believe so, the flax contain like a alpha linoleic acids, not like a beta linoleic acids. Like animal, for example, are more closer to the compound our body needs in coming in fatty acid forms. And the ratio of fatty acids, such as like a 369, you can get better option from animal fat than getting them from flax. Okay, and the flax are, yes, they might have some benefits, but they also have some compounds that our body doesn't know how to break it down.
Okay.
So I mean, it might give some like a 0 point maybe 2 or 3% of benefits of it, but you're gonna get better option if you're looking for fats from like or any because that's what the flax seeds are known for their oil, for their omega oils. So if you're looking for an omega oils, the best possible way of getting them is from fish and animal products. More bioavailable form.
Okay, because I had made contact about 15 years ago and spoke to somebody at your organization, and they had advised me to take 2 tablespoons of ground flaxseed every day.
Mm-hmm.
And then I've also read that how it's very beneficial, for breast cancer. But now, like as I said earlier, that I'm hearing that it may not be so good. So,
right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. There's a lot of contraindications a lot of plants do contain like benefit part of it, but at the same time, they do contain toxic part of it, toxicities such as like phytic acids, such as cyanides, particularly when it comes to the seeds, or oxalates or lactates. I mean, not lactates, lectins. So this is just to name a few, but they said an average plant contains about 60 different toxic, compounds in them. So when people do consume like particularly seeds in any form, so they prevent absorption other nutrients by 50%. So there's a plus and minus side of the flaxseed oils. Yeah, I mean flax seeds. As I said, like a most bioavailable form are getting your oils are when the oils are hard, they're not liquid,
Okay.
such as butter or animal fat. Those are most bioavailable that our body knows how to break it down and how to convert it into the needed amino acids or into the needed like compounds in our body.
Yeah, and as science progresses, we're finding
Yeah,
in the past we've been a very, very vegetarian-based company, but as we grow and science progresses, we're finding out that there's a lot of benefit to uh, getting nutrients from animal sources.
right.
But
Yeah.
Yes, I've heard that too.
by and large, the whole idea was that meats were bad for you, particularly if you char them, because it causes toxic uh, things to occur like ages and whatnot on the meats, um, and you have to get good meat. Your source is important, right? So
Right.
you got to get wild caught salmon or grass-fed, grass-finished beef from organic sources and things like that. So there's more potential for meat to be tainted, but
Mhm.
nowadays there's just as much chance for vegetables to be tainted. So you got to be careful. All your
Right. A lot of fats that comes from plants, our body doesn't know how to break it down, and it might store it in our
Okay.
system as I would say more inflammatory substances than beneficial, fat form. And those fats that get stored from particularly from liquid that's coming like from liquid oils or the seeds, those fats kind of absorb and store more toxins in them. So in opposed to the fat that coming from animals, for example, body knows how to utilize it. It would convert it into the hormones. It would convert it into, other form of enzymes that our body needs. So that's a different in a chemical compound of plants or plant oil, for example, in compared to animal oils.
Okay. And do you know if, well, I have gone from 2 tablespoons to like 1 teaspoon of ground flax seed a day. And do you know if that plays a part in, I get very bad hot flashes, so I don't know if that has anything to do, does that interfere with the way my body is with the hot flashes? I don't know if I'm making myself clear.
blood pressure?
No,
Hot
flash.
hot flashes.
Flashes. Oh, got you. Yeah. Sorry.
Well,
The hormones definitely, I think,
yeah, that is like that is your hormones. So
Okay.
I don't know your age. Hot flashes are due to low estrogen levels.
Okay. And my cancer was estrogen positive.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm 64, and I have had this hot flashes since I was 50, and they're not going away. And I'm wondering if it's due to these flax seeds that I'm taking.
Are you taking any aromatase inhibitors like letrozole or tamoxifen?
Nothing, because my doctor told me I can't take anything because of my estrogen positive cancer.
Oh, so she didn't give you any letrozole or
No,
an ester? Okay, that's good.
nothing.
So
Yeah.
yeah, well, so the body would make hot flashes when there's low estrogen. It's not only
Okay.
estrogen, there's a progesterone and other things, estradiol. So I would say, does flaxseed causes hot flashes? I doubt it, particularly in the way you eat them. Maybe very little, not whole a lot, but I cannot speak on that part. There's more of
Okay.
a more underlying. You have to check you have to check your hormones in total, not just like a TSH or other complete hormone check. And I would check probably adrenal glands, your stressors, your steroids, your DHEA, EPA, all of those things. I would check probably the adrenal glands also to see, because when our body goes into the menopause and ovaries stop producing estrogen, the estrogen, your adrenal glands will pick up on production of estrogen, because we cannot just go blank not having estrogen in our body, and other part of the body also would produce estrogen. So but when the adrenals are damaged or under stress, that production of estrogen, even in a small amount, are going to be low, which is going to affect like a bone density and other health conditions such as like hot flashes or some heart conditions. So probably checking your hormones would be the best thing to do now.
Okay.
And then and stop, like when you stop taking a flaxseed, you got to give yourself about 3 to 4 weeks to see if there's going to be a difference in your hot flashes or
Okay.
not. Okay, so if you see the difference, that
Okay.
might be from flaxseed. If it's not, then you would have to go and do some more testing. I had estrogen progesterone positive breast cancer, and I did suffer with the hot flashes, but I was on medications. But once I switched my diet and particularly start consuming more like animal fat, my hot flashes became very, very, very mild. Like sometimes I don't even feel them. So, understanding the way your body makes hormones and balance them, and what do you need to implement to be able to balance them. I think that should be your goal.
Okay. Okay. Because my hot flashes are very, very severe.
Yeah, I would check the
Yeah.
hormones. I would check the hormones, and I would not recommend going with any like HRTs, like bioidentical or hormone replacement therapies. That what the doctors usually would recommend. But there's many options when it comes to natural way
Okay.
of dealing with it before you jump in and do anything. Any
Okay.
like any hormones from outside of your body. First, you gotta let your body deal with it. If you cannot get to that point, then you can go with substitutes like HRTs or bioidenticals. Yeah.
Okay. Well, like I said earlier, my doctor said that I have to live with them because of my cancer, estrogen positive cancer. So I just thought that's what I need to do, just tolerate it.
Yeah, no, that's what they say, but that doesn't mean it's true. I was told the same thing, but I don't have them anymore. I mean, I get hot flashes, but
Okay.
not to the extent that would drive me crazy the way it was before. So, no. And I mean, like I did a lot of changes in my diet, I did a lot of changes in my lifestyle, I did a lot of changes in many different ways. So, and they just improved on their own without um, any additional hormone replacement therapies or anything out there.
Okay. Is there a way I can talk to you like outside of this call?
Sure. I do give free consultations, 20, 30 minutes free consultations. I'll put my website in the chat if you would like to contact me through that, and we can set up an appointment.
She's phoned in, so she
Oh,
won't.
she's phoned in. Okay.
Can I have your name?
Yeah. My name is Maya, Maya,
Okay.
and the last name is Samant. And you can email me with my first and last name at yahoo.com.
Can you spell your last name, please?
Sure. S as in Sam, I, M as in Mary, A, N as in Nancy, D as in David, Maya Samant at yahoo.com. That's my email. You can email me and we'll set up a time to talk.
Okay, great. Thank
And
you.
if anything goes wrong, you can, Rena, you can contact us at support@BeatCancer.org.
Okay.
Yeah, and we'll get you in touch.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, it doesn't get much easier
Sure.
than that. Support@BeatCancer.org.
Yeah.
Awesome. We had just before we get off the particular topic, Marinette posted a link to a blood test
Cool.
that she enjoys or that she likes for whatever reason. Marinette, would you like to mention what it was about that you like?
Yeah, so that's actually the blood test that Dr. Mark Hyman does use. I just couldn't remember what it was off the top of my head. So it can check for 50 different cancers. It basically checks there's like certain proteins that go on in the blood, and it can pick up on those. I think has like an 86 or 89 success rate that people are able to find it. Especially like it works really well, supposedly with from the studies with aggressive cancers too. But there's also 2 blood tests that you can get done at your regular physician's office too, and that is, or your providers, and that is a complete blood count. And that checks red blood cells, white blood cells. Sometimes some of those things can be elevated if there is something like cancer going on. Another one that can be checked too is CRP. And so that is basically like a marker for inflammation. So those can all be done with ordered through the doctor. And I'm pretty sure that the Gallery test also has to be ordered through a physician or provider as well.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Awesome. We had a question in the chat as well. It is from one of our callers. Sarah, would you like to chime in and read the question out yourself, or if you'd like, I can, of course, read it out myself as well.
Yeah, I'll be happy. Can you hear me?
We can.
You can hear me. Okay, good. Well, I have a question on the radiation treatments my husband is getting and the killer T cells. The killer T cells are a main part of the immune system, and I have watched a little movie. They come and they attack the cancer cell, so they're very important with cancer. I understand they're also important for coughs and colds and so on. That's my understanding. The doctors at Fox Chase Cancer Center said to my husband that the 24 radiation treatments my husband is getting would not reduce or compromise the killer T cells, the number of T cells and their effectiveness and so on. However, my tier 2 classes indicate that the killer T cells would be significantly reduced and the immune system would be compromised. That word is compromised there from the 24 radiation treatments. And I want to know if the coaches, or anybody has an opinion about whether we're compromising these very important killer T cells or any other part of the immune system.
Okay. Well, yes, our body produces natural killer cells all the time, including like B cells and T cells and many other cells that usually destroy cancer and other unwanted microorganisms that invade our body. And yes, radiation do affect them because radiation. So the way the entire process, I believe so, works is radiation would target just the cancer cells and destroy cancer cells. And every cell in our body, when it breaks down, would send the signal to a stem cell, to like, it's dying and it needs replacement. So when the cancer cells send the signal to stem cell, that cancer cells are dying. The stem cells are going to produce, cancer cells. So that's why it's so hard to kill cancers with chemo and radiation when people don't repair their body for the stem cells to produce healthy cells instead of producing cancer cells. And they would produce twice the amount, if not more, of cancer cells coming like a second time or third time around. So I'm not saying not to go for radiation treatment. If people are going for radiation treatment, they at the same time, they have to know what to do to be able to keep their immune system strong enough for the radiation not to be affected. Like being, healthy, making healthy choices, eating right, sleeping right, hydrating right, everything. Sometimes radiations are, they're useful, they're in place, they need to be there, but it's not only radiation. There's so many other things that people can do to help them. It is the process. But the reason our body stop producing so many natural killer cells because the immune system is down. And there's some kind of inflammation in the system, in the body, inside the cell converts itself into the malignant, cancer cell. So, eliminating inflammation, knowing where the inflammation is coming from. Is it due to whatever, injury or, a viral infection? Is it due to parasite? Is it due to infections or any form of damage that happens in the cell that could convert with years, particularly when it comes to a chronic inflammation, would convert into the malignant cell. If it's local, radiation might be useful, but at the same time, it has to be, many other things with it done.
So what you're saying he should be doing, in addition to the radiation, if he really wants to use the radiation, he should be doing other things to improve the immune system even more than just.
Yes. Radiation is not the only. So the way you have to understand, your body is not, the cancer is not depletion of radiation. Radiation.
Deficiency of radiation.
Deficiency, right? The cancer is a depletion of something else. It's not the depletion of chemotherapy or radiation. Like, am I saying yes, that he has to go for radiation? No. Can he do it without radiation? Yes. So there's so many ways, but sometimes radiation would help the process, like in killing cancer cells faster, if people are doing some other stuff too together at the same time.
I just want to ask you, you said the radiated dead cells will send a signal to the stem cells, and the stem cells will produce more cancer cells.
Yeah.
They get the signal that the cell died, is that it?
It is, yeah. Every cell, it doesn't really matter which cell dies in our body, whether it's like a cancer or any other cell. It would send our healthy cells disintegrate itself. It would send a signal to a stem cell that needs a replacement, because that's the way our body functions. It would produce additional cells. Otherwise, like if the stem cells are not going to make cells, then people eventually would die. And the stem cells are so strong that they the way our nature made our body, stem cells, like they won't allow any toxins to go to destroy the stem cells, because when the stem cell get destroyed, people are not making it, So the stem cells are very strong. They won't allow any chemotherapy to go through. They just literally break down the chemotherapy. They explode them. Any toxin, any drugs, it's very hard to go through the stem cell. The only signal that stem cell gets, it's from the cells that dies usually, and then send a signal that needs replacement. That's how our body regenerate like organs.
Oh, right. I see.
Okay. Yeah. And and the stem cells produces cells for every organ of our body. Right. It's the only part of our body that produces cells for every organ and every part of our body. Like liver can produce its own cells, like liver cells, like heart, its own cells, but the stem cells produces cells for every organ.
Now you're saying when it sends a signal back to the stem cells, these stem cells have already been damaged, so they're going to send out more cancer cells. Is that right?
Yes, that's why the treatments, as I said, the cancer is not the depletion of radiation or chemo or any other diseases, heart disease or diabetes. It's not a depletion of the metformin or statin drugs.
Yeah.
There's underlying cause of any health condition that
Right.
needs to be
Underlying.
addressed. Yeah, there are always root cause, there are always triggers, there are always something where the problem starts from. And that's what we do as a coaches. We go all the way to the bottom and try to help you to repair that process and bring your body into the stage where your body is your body's its own ability to destroy cancer or any other, to repair itself.
I see.
Because our body is capable of doing that.
Thank you. Okay, I think I understand it. Yeah. So he should do more to improve his immune system if he's going to do this radiation treatment. So
Yeah.
otherwise,
If
he'll
you,
get more cancer. Okay.
yeah. If he chooses to do a radiation, at the same time, he has to know how to, because here's another way, the radiation is going to kill cancer cells. And if he's not going to detoxify right properly, they're going to like rotate in his body and cause more damage. They're going to cause more toxicity, those cancer cells, because they're toxic as is. And when they get killed in a large amount at the same time, and they rotate in the body, they cause more damage. So, and more inflammation. Knowing how to eliminate them, know how to detoxify them, that's another way of looking, I mean, like another way of knowing and doing.
I see, yeah. Well, I can't really get it. I told him coffee enemas, colonics, colon cleanses. And because they're not telling him all that, then I can't get him to.
No. Yeah, there's there's hyperbaric chambers, oxygen,
Yeah.
and then there's ozone therapies. There are saunas, there's infrared,
Right.
There's so many other ways of doing instead of
Even something
going
as simple as sleep hygiene will help too.
sleep. Yeah.
Hydration, making sure that he's getting enough water, not even just fluids, but just water in general.
May I ask what kind of cancer it is?
He has prostate cancer, and my own impression is that he has one Gleason score that's like an 8, which is a little more like if you're at 6, they don't do anything. All of a sudden, if you're at 7, then they do something. To me, it seems arbitrary, and I told him not to do the treatments, but he has to decide for himself.
Yeah.
I can't tell him what to do. It's his.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
He has to choose.
Prostate is similar to a female cancer, breast cancer.
Right.
It's hormone related.
Hormone related.
Yes. It's how you're gonna how he would like to approach it. It's obviously by repairing the hormones, by repairing and bringing them to the balance. What did affect his hormones to become abnormal? That's another talk. That's another thing. What is happening in his life, like where the problems are coming from, eliminating all of those problems.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why do they give them the androgen replacement therapy or something?
Yeah, it's similar to letrozole they do to females when they get breast cancer. They give them like estrogen blockers. Same thing they give to males with prostate cancer. I think, what is it I forgot what it blocks when it comes to prostate. Similar to
it blocks testosterone.
Testosterone, yeah. Yeah. Again, what's the testosterone? What the way how body, it's always, we have to know how does our body makes estrogen, progesterone, testosterone. It makes it from cholesterol lipids.
Right.
Okay. Does he have a high blood pressure? Does he have a high cholesterol? Is he on statin drugs? That's there's so many things that.
Oh, he doesn't have any cholesterol drugs. The cholesterol's at 190. We reduce the amount of meat or whatever. And
is he on statin drugs?
No statin drugs. I know. I read the book, the great cholesterol myth, and I learned about the problems with statin drugs. Yeah. And the thing is, though, he does have stress, a stressful, he's retired, but he stresses over things.
Yeah.
He doesn't relax and find joy that easily. He does walk and do gardening and all that, but it's always like, I gotta check my money now. I gotta check the stocks now. I have to trade stocks again. Every single, and these are self-imposed ways of trying to control and everything. And relaxation is not that easy for him. So joy.
Yeah, that's a big part. And the other thing, actually, like having low cholesterol below 200 is putting people in a high risk developing prostate cancer for males and for females getting a breast cancer.
Yeah, I was thinking that was a little bit low.
Lower the cholesterol, the higher the risk of getting heart problems and the cancer. Just want to let you know. For some people, they think like ideal cholesterol for females are actually around 300, and for males it's 275 or something like that. So there's a correlation in there that people, the medical industry don't tell people, and they don't see that, but there's a lot of correlation there. But people need to pay attention to those
Now,
things.
you're saying he was on an androgen product. Is that to raise his testosterone or to lower it?
It lowers the testosterone
It
level.
lowers it.
Androgen does.
Is it like is it?
Well, androgen
Marianne?
definitely is used for testosterone.
Testosterone. That's what I was going to say. It's actually a testosterone replacement. It's what androgen gel normally is.
Yeah,
Is it?
I didn't know if she was saying it was a blocker of androgen or if it was an androgen.
Does it block the receptors, or does it like I forgot.
I kind of forget now. I have to go look that up again later. Yeah.
Lupron is one of the main ones that they
Lupron?
use. Lupron. To block the testosterone. It increases estrogen levels.
Lupron.
That seems like it would bring up a lot more problems.
It does. Yeah, I was just wondering if that might be the one that she was referring to instead of the androgen.
Lupron might be I don't know what it says androgen blocking or androgen I don't remember exactly what it does. I better look that
It's
up.
It's a synthetic hormone. This is one of the things that we have to understand. It's a synthetic hormone. Anything that we put our body against our natural, like physiology, the way that our body meant to work, like because our body has its own process. The way it processes the hormones, the way it processes everything by nature. When we put everything against it and we block the things that meant to be there, we're causing more damage, not repair. What we need to do, we need to balance and understand why his body making more testosterone or not making testosterone. So and what can you do to repair that process? Some people think it's like it's actually not that complicated when you know what to do. You know what I'm saying? So
I was just going to say, if you go to your doctor and your cholesterol is 220, your family doctor, then they get all worked up over it. But what I'm understanding, I just took a little extra coconut oil. So my cholesterol went from 200 to 220. And so then the family doctor got all worked up over it. But I didn't think I was taking coconut oil, which was good for you.
Yeah.
And the cholesterol went up. So I didn't think that was an issue. So I'm just concerned that they're
all a ruse. I'm sorry. I'll be controversial.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on why your cholesterol went up to begin with. If it's because you ate bad foods or something, that's one thing. But if you're getting coconut oil, that's good for you, a little bit of that. So
did I just hear correctly that coconut oil is being blamed for bad cholesterol or really anything at all?
Yeah.
That's insane. That's nuts. I would recommend perhaps getting a different healthcare provider.
Yeah,
here's the thing though, any healthcare provider they go to, unless it's holistic or functional medicine, they would say the same thing. It's all about educating yourself. So you basically have to become your own health advocate.
Right.
because the way I see the system is going, it's a more of a damage than
Yeah. I mean,
it's
I mean,
sick
what
health
was it,
system.
40 years ago before cholesterol meds, the cholesterol that was considered normal was much, much higher than it is
Yeah.
now. And they're saying that
Mhm.
now you need to get on this cholesterol lowering medicine, and that's causing all kinds of problems in people.
Right.
Right. Right.
Right. Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep, so I don't buy it. Sorry.
yeah. Unless someone has a particular allergy to coconut, like that's one of the least controversial natural things
Right.
out there.
Right.
It's
I
a
have
Yeah.
CBD
chocolate.
oil every single
The,
day in my coffee.
yeah. The
Yeah.
only difference from coconut, I mean, it's a great oil, MCT oil, they're great oils. The only difference between animal oils and then those plant oils, no plant oil contains vitamins like a vitamin D, vitamin A, vitamin E, and vitamin K. No plant oil does have them. They
Yeah.
only come from animal products, and
Mhm.
our body needs them. Okay. So that's the difference. If you're substituting with supplements, yes, coconut oil is good for you. And then the actual form of cholesterol that comes from coconut oil, it's a little bit different from a cholesterol that comes from animal fat. So
Mhm.
it's a little bit different. It's so animal saturated fat, the better for our body than coming from the plants.
Right. So having a little bit of butter or cheese is
Bad? Yeah. Is it completely bad? No, it's not.
mhm.
It
Okay.
has its own.
I'm
Mhm.
hearing now too that there's the whole HDL LDL thing
Yeah.
is kind of a myth. There's a range of cholesterols and there is one that they would consider a bad cholesterol, but it doesn't reflect in the high LDL number.
Mhm.
But you have to get
Yeah.
a much fuller panel to get a real good idea of
Right.
is your
Yeah.
cholesterol a problem or not. And typically I would say it's probably not, even if it's high.
Yeah. Well, LDL goes high if there's inflammation in the body. But then at the same time, there's different type of LDL.
Right.
There's a one particular one, I think it's called LDLA,
Yep, that's what I'm talking about.
that's related to heart conditions.
Or
So if
LD.
people are okay with LDLA, then the other LDL is basically due to the inflammation in the body. More inflammation, the higher LDL is going to be. Less
I
inflammation,
heard
less
about
LDL.
the oxidized LDL is the one that could contribute to plaque. Is that right? Oxidized LDL, but there are different types of LDL. They're different types.
There's like a small, I mean like a low density and a high density
Mm-hmm.
LDLs.
Yeah.
So, and there's a small molecules that they get clogged. Like 30% of small atoms or small molecules like of LDL are more dangerous than 70% of the large LDL molecules.
Okay.
Okay. So it's having a more in-depth testing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this is the stuff you have to ask your doctor, not oncologist, I mean cardiologist yourself. Can you do this test, or this test? But the problem is a lot of them don't even have an idea what LDLA is.
Right. Right.
Yeah. We had a friend chime in on Facebook with a nice comment I'm going to read out here saying, yes, cholesterol controls all your hormones and hormones affect your cholesterol. It's certainly a back and forth thing. And then they said sugar will lower testosterone and increase estrogen in men. Uh,
Yes, I agree.
yeah,
I agree. Yeah,
Well, sugar's the culprit for a lot of things.
yeah,
yeah, absolutely. There's really no reason other than it's just delicious to be eating it. It's so detrimental, you know. And I say that as someone who
It's addiction.
loves the taste of sweets, you know, but
yeah,
it's a drug. It ultimately should be viewed as a drug. All sweeteners, what they do to our body. I mean, if you think about it, they work like any other stimulant. You get a rush, you get a high. It's very enjoyable in the moment, but then oftentimes it leaves you with a crash afterwards, a sugar crash. I mean,
yeah,
all of the parallels to conventional drugs are right there. It's just been very normalized, of course, and very easily accessible within society to the point where of course, even children and infants are being pumped full of sugar-containing things, and it's surely one of the biggest problems of the modern world, the ease of access and the common access and the lack of second thought given to the consumption of sugar. But
Mhm.
yeah, if that there's so many different health improvements to be made, but I think if an average person were to make no other changes other than cutting out sugar and including in that sugar replacements and alternatives, because most of those are harmful as well, even that one change alone would lead to a vast improvement in overall health.
Yeah, it's a big one because
Mm.
sugar is in everything, and there's a lot of foods that could easily convert into sugar. So it's a pretty big deal to get onto a low glycemic lifestyle.
Yeah. Sugar is something that oxidizes the cholesterol. And we don't see any, it's a biggest addictive. I mean, there's nothing more addictive than sugar.
Yeah, they're saying that it's more addictive than cocaine.
Yes. Yes, it's very hard sugar withdrawal is very hard
And the
for
amount of
people to,
sugar that the average American gets in their diet is just astronomical. I mean,
it's very
I saw
astronomical.
like a video where the guy was wheelbarrowing it in, and that was like the
Mm.
average person a year.
Right, right. Yeah. So that's what oxidize the cholesterol. Speaking of oxidation of lipids, of the fat. So sugar plays a big role. And by the way, I've just heard today that in entire world, diseases like dementia, Alzheimer's, autism, and all of, I mean, like those type of diseases, they call them diabetes number 3. Only in United States we have names for them like Alzheimer's, dementia, but other countries they do call them like I mean it is already a diabetes number 3.
They call it for what it is.
Yes, yes. So damage is big.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Awesome. Awesome. Great call. Great call. Looking around for any last minute comments
I
that
did get a question on Facebook. It's not part of this call, but they were asking what foods convert into sugar, and I just said a lot of foods do, and
Yeah.
so breads and
Well,
rice.
yeah. Well, all form of carbohydrates would
Yeah,
convert into the sugar.
yeah.
Uh,
But the ones that convert really fast into simple sugars are things like
simple sugars. Yeah.
that's just
Simple
terrible.
carbs.
Yeah, simple carbs. Again, overworking out, a lot of people do extreme workouts. That body produces more lactic acid that converts into the sugar. So it's the people, a lot of people obsessed with working out. I'm not saying people should not work out. They have to know what form of workout they do. They have to know the limit of workout they do because it's like, the body would make more lactic acid. And what lactic acid does, liver would convert it into the sugar. Like, that's another way of getting sugar in the body.
I think that's just a really good point too. Just saying, I mean, just your whole lifestyle makes a really big deal. I mean, just everything that you do, everything that you're doing, can affect things. So just looking at it as a whole is really important.
Right. That's why I always say we always look outside of the box. We always look as a coaches, we always look for the triggers, for the lifestyle, for balancing everything in your life and teaching you what do you have to know about your body and how you have to work with it.
Yeah, but it's different for every person.
Mhm.
Somebody like me, it might be sleep or even
Right.
over,
Right.
right?
Yeah. Yeah, sleep is so important, particularly balancing the hormones. Like everyone in my family, my entire family knows like not to call me past 9:30. I'm bad. That's it. 10 is like a deadline for me. So because I take those things very seriously. This is when
If the kids are home, just turn the phone off.
yeah, I do turn my phone off
I do
and
too.
I do turn my phone off and I just like everyone knows, like my friends, everyone, they don't call me like past 9:30 because I know if you want to keep your body healthy, if you want to stay healthy and not to, in my cases, in our cases, like we don't like to prevent cancer reoccurrence, you always have to be, you know, performing your best, to stay healthy.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
I also turn it off because I don't want the signal near me at night.
Yep.
I do, yeah. All the time. Sometimes I forgot to turn it on in the morning and then
I'm guilty of that a lot.
yeah. Just like I would look at it like if there's anyone sending me a text message would say like I don't know if you're asleep or not, like it's urgent kind of like is that okay if we have a phone call? You know. Yeah. But other than that, no. I would reply in the morning.
Okay, so I guess I'm the bearer of bad news. It is the top of the hour.
Yeah.
And we do have a coaches only call in 15 minutes. So coaches, please join us there. And we'll see you all here next week. If you have any questions over the week, please contact us at support@BeatCancer.org and we'll be happy to answer your questions. Or get on the call next week and ask it in person.
Yeah.
Okay. Have a good week.
Bye everyone.
Bye.
Good night.
Bye.
Have a good
Bye.
evening.
Thank you.